The massive Imperial ships appeared without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their golden hulls gleaming in Earth's sunlight. 12 vessels, each larger than the largest aircraft carrier ever built, positioned themselves in a circle around the planet. Earth's military commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. Radar stations worldwide tracked the unknown vessels, while civilian satellites transmitted crystal-clear images of the alien ships. In the first few minutes, three things became absolutely clear. They were not alone in the universe. The visitors had incredible technology, and they had completely surrounded Earth. "Send the standard greeting package," commanded Admiral Wilson from the United Earth Defense Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. His weathered face showed no fear, only calm determination. The package contained basic mathematical sequences, peaceful images, and simple language primers. Humanity's carefully prepared first contact protocols. The aliens responded immediately, but not in the way anyone expected. "Primitive species," boomed a voice in perfectly synthesized English across all communication channels. "We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 50,000 worlds. Your planet is now under our protection and guidance. Disable your primitive weapons and prepare for integration. The Empire's scans have detected Earth's nuclear weapons, spacecraft, and military bases. What they failed to understand was that humans have been preparing for this exact scenario for over a century. Every science fiction story, every movie about alien invasions, had shaped humanity's response to this moment." Admiral Wilson's lips curved into a slight smile. "Execute Defense Plan Omega." Across the globe, hidden installations hummed to life. What the Empire saw as primitive weapons were merely the surface layer of Earth's defenses. Deep in underground bunkers and beneath the oceans, quantum computers processed combat solutions. Advanced AI systems, developed in secret, coordinated humanity's response. The Imperial commander, watching from his flagship, laughed at the primitive radar waves bouncing off his ship's shields. His laughter stopped when the first salvo hit. Microscopic drones, millions of them, swarmed from hidden orbital platforms. They were too small for the Imperial shields to detect, designed specifically to exploit such limitations. These nanobots began disassembling the Imperial ship's outer hull at the molecular level. "Impossible," the Imperial commander shouted as warning lights flashed across his bridge. "These primitives can't have this technology. Fire the main weapons." The Imperial ships launched energy beams powerful enough to vaporize cities, but Earth's defenders had studied energy weapons in theory for decades. Quantum field generators activated, bending the beams harmlessly into space. The Empire had expected spears and arrows. They got the accumulated defensive innovations of a paranoid species instead. From the ocean depths, electromagnetic pulse weapons fired, carefully tuned to the frequency of Imperial shield generators. 3 Imperial ships went dark immediately. From hidden silos, kinetic strike vehicles launched, accelerating to near-relativistic speeds. The Empire's sensors, designed to detect energy weapons, never saw the simple tungsten rods coming. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Banks, her fingers flying over the tactical display. 5 enemy vessels disabled, 3 more showing critical damage. The remaining 4 are repositioning. Admiral Wilson nodded. "Send the message." Across all frequencies, in every known language and encoding, Earth broadcast its response. "The Galactic Empire is hereby forbidden from entering Earth's solar system. This is your only warning. Leave now." The remaining Imperial ships, their golden hulls now scared and pitted, quickly retreated. They jumped into hyperspace, leaving their damaged companions behind. Earth's rescue ships moved to collect survivors from the disabled vessels, following protocols established centuries ago by maritime traditions. In the aftermath, Admiral Wilson stood at the command center window, looking up at the sky. "They'll be back," he said quietly. "But next time, they'll know we're not as primitive as they thought." Recovery teams began collecting Imperial technology from the disabled ships, but the biggest prize was the data they carried. Humanity now had access to star maps, Imperial technical specifications, and most importantly, proof that they could stand up to the greatest power in the galaxy. The first battle was over. Earth had won, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. In distant Imperial chambers, shocked analysts tried to explain how a primitive species had defeated their most advanced ships. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their determination to remain free, forged by thousands of years of resisting tyranny in all its forms. The Empire had made a crucial mistake. They had judged Earth by its visible technology, not by the spirit of its people. They would not make that mistake again. The Imperial Palace on Capital World buzzed with activity. In a vast chamber filled with floating screens and holographic displays, the Empire's top analysts gathered to understand their humiliating defeat at Earth. "This makes no sense," muttered head analyst James Smith, an alien who had taken a human name to appear more sophisticated. He paced before a massive display showing Earth's development timeline. "Every civilized species in the galaxy was guided by us. We planted the seeds of their technology. We shaped their growth. But Earth is different." Behind him, dozens of experts from across the Empire studied data recovered from their defeated ships. The room fell silent as new information appeared on the main screen. "Look at this," called out one analyst, pointing to a graph. "Their technological growth curve is nearly vertical. Most species take 1,000 years to advance from primitive combustion engines to spaceflight. Humans did it in less than 70 years. The Empire's standard practice was simple: find developing worlds, secretly guide their progress, and then arrive as saviors with advanced technology. This method had worked perfectly for over 10,000 years. But somehow, they had missed Earth during their regular surveys." James walked to another display showing human military innovations. They prepared defenses against threats they had never seen. How? Why? An older analyst spoke up from the back of the room. "Their entertainment media. Look at this." He projected scenes from old human movies and books showing alien invasions. They'd been imagining and planning for our arrival for centuries. While other species waited for guidance from the stars, humans asked themselves, what if the aliens are hostile? The revelation sent shockwaves through the Imperial analysis team. A species that developed entirely on its own, shaped by imagination and paranoia, rather than careful Imperial guidance, was unprecedented. In another part of the palace, the Imperial Military Council was having its own crisis meeting. Admiral Stone, their best tactical commander, replayed the battle footage for the 20th time. "Their weapons weren't more advanced than ours," he explained to the gathered officers. "They were just different. Our shields were designed to stop energy weapons and large projectiles. Their microscopic drones were too small to trigger our defensive systems. It's like they thought sideways." The Emperor himself watched from his throne as reports poured in from across the galaxy. Other species were already asking questions. If Earth could resist the Empire, what did that mean for everyone else? "We have another problem," reported a junior analyst, nervously approaching James. "Our deep space scans show they're building something massive in their asteroid belt. The energy readings are off the charts." James studied the new data with growing concern. Humans weren't just defending themselves. They were expanding. And without Imperial guidance, there was no way to predict what they would do next. In a secure chamber deep beneath the palace, the Empire's secret research team made an even more disturbing discovery. They had found traces of hundreds of abandoned human research projects, dangerous technologies that humans had developed but chosen not to use. "They have restraint," whispered one researcher. "They could have built planet-killing weapons decades ago, but they chose not to. This species, they're not just powerful, they're wise." The Emperor called an emergency meeting of his highest advisors. The Grand Chamber, with its towering crystal columns and ancient artifacts, had never felt so tense. Options: The Emperor asked simply. James stepped forward. We could try to isolate them, cut them off from the rest of the galaxy. But, he paused, checking his data tablet. Our models show they'll develop their own faster-than-light travel within 5 years. Maybe sooner. Admiral Stone spoke next. A full military response would be costly. Very costly. Their tactical thinking is unpredictable. They don't follow any of the standard combat doctrines we've seen from other species. The Emperor's face darkened. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire faced a species it couldn't control or predict. Worse still, the humans had not only survived first contact, they had won decisively. Prepare a diplomatic mission, the Emperor finally ordered. Perhaps we can reason with them. As the meeting ended, James looked again at the scans of Earth's new construction projects. He couldn't shake the feeling that the Empire's troubles with Earth were just beginning. Humanity wasn't just an anomaly. They were a wake-up call. The galaxy was about to change, and the Empire wasn't ready. 2 months after the failed invasion, 3 Imperial diplomatic ships approached Earth's orbit. This time, they came slowly and openly, broadcasting peace signals on all frequencies. Inside the United Earth Council chamber in Geneva, 500 representatives from all Earth nations gathered to meet the Empire's diplomats. The Grand Hall, with its high glass ceiling showing the blue sky above, buzzed with nervous energy. "They're here to trick us," said General Roberts, standing at the main podium. "Our spies found something interesting in their captured ships' databases. Show them." The main screen lit up with images that made everyone in the room gasp. Hundreds of worlds, thousands of species, all conquered by the Empire through seemingly peaceful means. The pattern was always the same. First came the diplomats, then the advisors, and finally total Imperial control. The Imperial diplomatic team entered the chamber exactly at noon. Their leader, Ambassador White, wore flowing golden robes and a practiced smile. 2 other diplomats followed him, carrying gifts of advanced technology. "Noble humans," Ambassador White began, his voice smooth and friendly. "We apologize for our previous misunderstanding. The Empire wishes to make peace. We offer you membership in our great civilization." President Thompson of the Earth Council stood up. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen many wars. "Membership? You mean submission. We've seen what you did to other worlds." The ambassador's smile faltered slightly. "I don't understand. We bring progress, civilization, order." "Order?" A scientist named David walked to the front of the room, carrying a tablet. "Let me show you something we found in your ship's records." The screen changed to show a peaceful alien world. Then came images of Imperial ships arriving, offering help, and slowly taking control. Within 50 years, that species had lost its independence, its culture, and even its right to make its own decisions. "You did this to 50,000 worlds," David said quietly. "You call it guidance. We call it conquest." Ambassador White's face hardened. "You don't understand. The galaxy needs order, structure. Without the Empire." "Without the Empire," President Thompson interrupted, "species would be free to grow on their own, like we did." The ambassador tried a different approach. He stepped forward and opened a case containing a small device. "This technology could end all diseases on Earth. We offer it freely, along with many other gifts." The room fell silent. It was a tempting offer. But then General Roberts played one last recording. A secret message intercepted from the Imperial Palace. The ambassador's true orders were clear: gain Earth's trust, then slowly take control. "Here is our answer," President Thompson said, standing tall. "Earth and its solar system are now forbidden to the Galactic Empire. Any Imperial ship, diplomat, or citizen who enters our space will be treated as a hostile invader." Ambassador White's friendly mask disappeared completely. "You dare to ban the Empire? We rule 50,000 worlds. We have technology you can't imagine. And we have something you don't understand: David replied. Freedom, the will to stay free, and the strength to fight for it. The ambassador looked around the room, seeing the same determination in every human face. These people had developed on their own, fought their own battles, and solved their own problems. They could not be controlled with promises or threats. This is your final warning, President Thompson declared. Leave Earth's space. Do not return. As the Imperial diplomats walked out, they passed a new installation in the council chamber, a display showing Earth's rapidly growing defense network. Automated factories in the asteroid belt were producing thousands of defense satellites. New weapons platforms orbited every planet in the solar system. The Empire had hoped to find a primitive species they could slowly control. Instead, they found humanity, stubborn, independent, and absolutely determined to remain free. Later that evening, as the Imperial ships left Earth's space, President Thompson stood at her office window, watching the stars. They'll try again, she said to General Roberts. They can't accept that we don't need their guidance. Let them try, the general replied with a small smile. Earth will be ready. In the depths of space, Ambassador White sent a final message to the Emperor. Diplomatic mission failed. These humans are different. They don't want our help. They don't need it. And most importantly, they know exactly what we are. The age of imperial expansion had met its first real challenge. Earth wasn't just resisting. It was declaring itself off limits to the greatest power in the galaxy. And somehow, everyone knew the humans would make it stick. In the 6 months following the failed diplomatic mission, Earth changed dramatically. The asteroid belt, once a quiet region of floating rocks, now buzzed with activity. Thousands of automated factories worked day and night, building humanity's greatest defense project. From his observation post on Mars, Commander Jack watched the construction with pride. Defense Ring Alpha is now 60% complete, he reported to Earth Command. Through his viewport, he could see the massive ring taking shape, a chain of interconnected defense stations circling the entire solar system. The stations were simple but clever. Unlike the Empire's complex energy shields, Earth's defenders had chosen a different path. Each station contained millions of tiny hunter-killer drones, ready to swarm any hostile ship. Between the stations, automated repair units kept everything running smoothly. They're calling it the Iron Wall, said Technical Director Mary, floating in the zero-gravity control room beside Jack. Simple name for a simple idea. The simplicity was what made it brilliant. Earth's engineers had learned from capturing Imperial ships. The Empire's technology was advanced but predictable. They always expected enemies to use the same kinds of weapons they did. Earth's defenses were different. They used basic physics in unexpected ways. Back on Earth, in the underground command center, Admiral Wilson reviewed the latest reports. Time to send the message, he said. Make sure every species in the galaxy can hear it. The message was short and clear. It played on all frequencies in all known languages. This is Earth Command to all spacefaring civilizations. The Sol system, including Earth and all its colonies, is now a restricted zone. Any Imperial ships entering this space will be destroyed. This is not a negotiation. This is a warning. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor watched the message with growing anger. They dare to threaten us, he roared. Show me their defensive capabilities. The Imperial analysts presented their findings, and for the first time in centuries, the Emperor felt fear. Earth's defense system wasn't just powerful, it was impossible to counter. The humans had studied Imperial technology and built specific defenses against it. Look at this, one analyst explained, pointing to a simulation. Their automated factories can replace destroyed stations faster than we can destroy them. And these drones, he showed footage of the tiny machines that could eat through Imperial hull plating like it was paper. But the real surprise came from Earth's colonies. In just 6 months, humans had established bases on Mars, Venus, and several moons of Jupiter. Each colony was protected by its own defense network. They're expanding faster than any species we've ever seen, reported James Smith, the head analyst. And they're sharing their technology with other worlds. This last part worried the Empire most. Several conquered species had already received secret transmissions from Earth, teaching them how to build their own defense systems. On Mars, Commander Jack received an urgent alert. Imperial scout ships had been detected at the edge of the solar system. "They're testing us," he said to Mary. "Time to show them we mean business." The response was automatic. The moment the Imperial ships crossed the warning line, swarms of drones launched from the nearest defense station. The Empire's ships tried to run, but the drones were too fast, too numerous. In less than 5 minutes, the scout ships were reduced to floating debris. The message was clear. Earth's warning was not a bluff. "Send them the recording," ordered Admiral Wilson. "Let them see exactly what happens when they ignore our warning." The Empire watched in shock as their advanced scout ships were torn apart by what they had dismissed as primitive technology. The humans hadn't just banned them. They had created a perfect defense against Imperial weapons. In his private chambers, the Emperor faced a difficult truth. For the first time in Imperial history, they had found a species they couldn't conquer or control. Worse still, this species was teaching others how to resist. "Your orders, Supreme One?" asked his advisors. The Emperor stared at the footage of his destroyed ships. Pride demanded an attack, but wisdom urged caution. The humans had proved they could defend themselves. Now they were proving they could help others do the same. "Prepare the fleet," he finally ordered. "We must make an example of Earth before more worlds follow their lead." But as Imperial ships began gathering for what they thought would be a simple punishment mission, Earth's defenders smiled. The Empire still hadn't learned the most important lesson. Never underestimate humans who fight for freedom. The Imperial battle fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm of angry wasps. 500 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled, filled the space beyond Neptune's orbit. Their golden hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight as they prepared for what they thought would be a quick victory. "Look at these primitives," Admiral Red sneered from his flagship's bridge. "Their little defense ring won't stand a chance against our full might." He adjusted his elaborate uniform and smiled. "Begin the attack." Deep in Earth's Defense Command Center, Admiral Wilson watched the Imperial fleet's arrival calmly. "They still think we've shown them everything we have," he said to his staff. "Let's prove them wrong." The first wave of Imperial ships charged forward, weapons blazing. They expected Earth's defense stations to fire back with similar energy weapons. Instead, the stations remained dark and quiet. "They're not even fighting back," Admiral Red laughed. "Perhaps they finally learned there." His words cut off as the first line of Imperial ships suddenly disappeared from his tactical display. No explosions, no debris. They simply vanished. "What happened?" he demanded. The answer came in the form of a massive data packet, transmitted directly to every ship in his fleet. It showed microscopic wormholes opening inside each vanished ship, teleporting small sections of their hull into deep space. The ships hadn't been destroyed. They had been taken apart piece by piece in less than a second. "Impossible," Admiral Red shouted. "They can't have this technology. All ships, fall back," and more ships vanished. Earth's defense ring had awakened, revealing weapons the Empire had never imagined. Quantum teleporters, microscopic black holes that ate through shields like they weren't there, and swarms of drones that could reconfigure themselves into any shape needed. "We recovered some interesting technology from your ships after your first attack." Admiral Wilson's voice came through on all Imperial channels. "We just improved it a little." The Imperial fleet's formation broke. Some ships tried to retreat while others pressed forward in desperation. None of them noticed the small objects floating between the planets, quantum-entangled mines that Earth had scattered throughout the solar system. When the mines activated, they didn't explode. Instead, they created fields of twisted space-time. trapping Imperial ships in bubbles where time moved 1,000 times slower than normal. To the trapped crews, the battle would seem to last centuries. "This is impossible," one of the Imperial captains screamed over the command channel. "They're primitives. They couldn't have developed this technology so quickly." "That's where you're wrong," Admiral Wilson replied calmly. "We've had these ideas for centuries. In our science fiction, in our dreams. We just needed to see your technology once to know how to make them real." In less than an hour, the mighty Imperial fleet was reduced to scattered debris and time-frozen ships. Of the 500 vessels that arrived, only 50 managed to escape back into hyperspace. Admiral Red, his flagship trapped in a time bubble, watched in horror as weeks seemed to pass in moments outside his ship. He saw Earth's defense platforms repair themselves instantly, watched human ships casually collect the debris of his fleet, and realized the terrible truth. Humanity had been holding back. The survivors brought terrifying tales back to the Empire. They spoke of weapons that defied physics, of defenses that couldn't be breached, and of a species that had turned the Empire's own technology against it in ways they'd never imagined. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. His advisors waited nervously for his reaction. "They didn't just defeat us," he finally said. "They showed the galaxy that we can be defeated." On Earth, Admiral Wilson stood in front of the World Council, giving his report. "The Empire now knows what happens when they test our warnings. But more importantly, other species know too. We're already receiving requests for help from worlds that want to break free from Imperial control." The Council members shared knowing looks. Earth had done more than defend itself. It had sparked hope across the galaxy. The age of Imperial dominance was ending, and a new era was beginning. In orbit, Earth's defense ring continued its silent watch, ready to protect not just humanity, but any species that wanted to be free. The Empire's test had failed spectacularly, and the galaxy would never be the same. News of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On thousands of worlds, enslaved species watched leaked footage of Earth's defense systems destroying the Imperial fleet. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire looked weak. On a distant mining world called Blue Rock, the local governor watched his workers with growing fear. They were whispering among themselves, sharing stories about Earth. Their eyes held something he hadn't seen before: hope. "Report from Blue Rock," James Smith announced in the Imperial Palace. "The mining crews are refusing to work. They're demanding rights like Earth humans have." The Emperor slammed his fist on his throne. "This is spreading. Show me the latest reports." The holographic display lit up with red dots, each one a world where rebellion was brewing. And at the center of it all was Earth, sending out encrypted messages to any species that wanted to learn. Meanwhile, in a secret meeting room on Mars, Earth's representatives met with leaders from 20 different alien species. The room was simple but comfortable, designed to make everyone feel equal. "We don't want to rule you," Admiral Wilson explained to the gathered aliens. "We just want to help you defend yourselves." A tall blue-skinned leader stood up. "But how? The Empire's ships are everywhere. Their spies watch everything we do." Technical Director Mary smiled and activated a hologram. "That's why we created this. The Freedom Package. Simple plans for defense systems that you can build using materials the Empire thinks are worthless." The aliens studied the plans with growing excitement. Earth had designed weapons and defenses that looked like normal mining equipment or communication arrays. The Empire's spies would never notice them until it was too late. "Why are you helping us?" asked another alien leader. "What do you want in return?" "Friends," President Thompson replied simply. "Equals. Partners in a free galaxy." As the meeting continued, reports came in from across the galaxy. On 50 different worlds, Imperial governors were being peacefully removed from power. The Empire's grip was slipping, one planet at a time. In the Imperial Palace, panic was spreading. "Another system has gone dark," reported a nervous advisor. The colony on Green Star is refusing to pay taxes. The mining world Delta says they're now under Earth's protection. The Emperor watched his empire crumbling. How are they doing this? Our spies report no Earth ships in these systems, no human weapons. That's just it, James Smith explained. They're not conquering anyone. They're just showing others how to free themselves. Back on Earth, the World Council received a surprising message. 3 imperial colony worlds had declared independence and wanted to join Earth's growing alliance. "We need a name for this new organization," suggested General Roberts, "something that represents what we stand for." "The Free Systems Alliance," President Thompson offered, "because that's what we are, an alliance of free worlds." The news hit the Empire like a thunderbolt. Their own colonies were choosing to leave, inspired by Earth's example. Worlds that had been under imperial control for thousands of years were suddenly declaring themselves independent. In their secret bases, imperial spies reported something even more disturbing. Earth wasn't building warships or raising armies. Instead, they were sharing knowledge, teaching other species how to build their own defenses, their own technologies. "Don't you see what they're doing?" James Smith told the Emperor. "They're not fighting us directly. They're showing everyone else how to resist us. And it's working." The Emperor watched another dot on his map turn from Imperial gold to Alliance blue. Earth had found a way to defeat the Empire without firing a shot, by simply showing others that freedom was possible. On 100 worlds, newly free species began building their own versions of Earth's defense rings. The Empire's ships found themselves unwelcome in more and more systems. "The balance of power is shifting," Admiral Wilson told the World Council. "But the Empire won't accept this quietly. They're gathering their forces for one final attempt to crush us." President Thompson nodded grimly. "Let them come. Earth will stand with our new allies. The Empire's time is ending, and they know it." As news of the growing alliance spread, more worlds began to dream of freedom. The Empire had ruled through fear and control for 10,000 years. But Earth had shown the galaxy something stronger than fear: hope. The Imperial Palace shook with the Emperor's rage. 1,000 ships, he roared. "Every warship we have left. We will crush Earth and make an example of them." The largest fleet in galactic history gathered above the Imperial capital. Ships stretched as far as the eye could see, their golden hulls blocking out the stars. This would be the Empire's final attempt to maintain their power. On Earth, Admiral Wilson received the warning from their deep space sensors. "They're coming. All of them." But Earth wasn't alone anymore. As the Imperial fleet approached, sensors detected hundreds of ships emerging from hyperspace. The Free Systems Alliance had arrived to stand with Earth. "Defense stations report ready," announced Commander Jack from Mars Control. "All Alliance worlds are transmitting support signals." The Imperial fleet arrived like a golden wave, filling the space beyond Jupiter. But instead of attacking immediately, they received a transmission from Earth. "Last chance." President Thompson's voice was calm but firm. "Return to your capital. End the Empire's tyranny. Join the Alliance as equals." The Emperor himself responded, his voice booming across all channels. "You dare to give us orders? We ruled the galaxy before your species learned to make fire. And that's exactly why you'll lose," Admiral Wilson replied. "You haven't learned anything new in thousands of years. We learn and adapt every day." The battle began. The Imperial fleet launched their attack, expecting to overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. What they found instead was something entirely new. Earth's defense ring had evolved. The stations now linked together, creating a web of quantum-entangled energy that covered the entire solar system. Any ship trying to pass through found itself teleported into the sun. Impossible. The Emperor watched in horror as his ships vanished one by one. All ships, fire everything. But the Alliance ships were ready. Using Earth's shared technology, they created safe corridors through the quantum web, launching precision strikes against the Imperial fleet. In the chaos of battle, something unexpected happened. Imperial ships began changing sides. Crews who had seen worlds free themselves under the Alliance decided they wanted that freedom too. "Your Majesty," James Smith reported from the Imperial flagship, "we're losing control of our own forces." The Emperor watched helplessly as his fleet broke apart. Some ships retreated, others surrendered, and some joined the Alliance right there in the middle of battle. After just 3 hours, it was over. The Empire's mighty fleet was destroyed, scattered, or converted. The Emperor's flagship floated alone in space, surrounded by Alliance ships. "The Empire is finished," President Thompson announced across all frequencies. "But we're not here for revenge. We offer you the same choice we offer everyone. Join us as equals or go home, and leave others in peace." In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor faced a decision that would change the galaxy. His advisors showed him the truth. Hundreds of worlds had already joined the Alliance. The Empire's power was gone. With heavy dignity, the Emperor made his choice. "We surrender," he announced. "The Empire accepts your terms." The news spread across the galaxy at light speed. The empire that had ruled for 10,000 years had fallen, not to a stronger tyrant, but to the simple idea of freedom. 1 month later, representatives from every known species gathered on Earth. In the same room where Earth had once banned the Empire, they now created something new, the Galactic Council. "Each world governs itself," President Thompson explained to the gathered delegates. "The Council exists only to help us work together, not to rule." Admiral Wilson stood by the window, watching ships from 100 worlds moving peacefully through Earth's space. "Think about it," he said to General Roberts. "Just 6 months ago, we were alone in the galaxy. Now we're part of something bigger. Something better," the general added. "Because we didn't conquer anyone. We just showed them they could be free." On worlds across the galaxy, species that had been slaves for thousands of years looked up at their skies and saw hope. The Empire's golden ships were gone, replaced by the simple message Earth had shared: every species deserves to be free. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon hadn't been their technology or their defenses. It had been an idea that freedom was worth fighting for, and that helping others gain their freedom was the greatest victory of all. The Empire was gone. In its place, a galaxy of free worlds looked to the future, and it had all started with a simple message from Earth: entry forbidden.